Hi, I'm Lori with To the Trade for Interior Design Community, and I have Niall with me. Hi, Niall.
Hi.
And we have some special guests. Very excited. You two ladies, I've known you, I feel like since I don't know, forever. I don't, I just remember hearing about your design firm. I want to say like very early days of interior design community. I was probably just starting interior design community and you were sort of just starting your firm too. We've been around for 13 years. So how about you?
Almost 19 years. We've been around since 2007.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think you got online and we were chit-chatting and I was like helping you guys meet other designers for a bit. And I just have always watched out for you because I think you're super talented. I can kind of always, I don't know, there's something I feel like I can spot a designer's firm that's on the rise and what someone who's making moves pretty easily.
Well, thank
And
you.
I
That's
won.
so nice. Thank
But
you.
I wanted to yeah, I wanted to start with
Thank you.
tell us about the dynamic. Introduce yourselves. Tell us about the dynamic. How did you come to be partners? All of the foundational story of Pulp.
You can start, Carolina, because I always jump in.
She does. She always talks too much.
Actually, not in real life.
Actually, not in person. Not in person. Just on if
Yeah,
she's mic'd.
say it for her.
But well, we met actually working together at a multifamily firm, and I'm Carolina Gentry, by the way. Um, that's how we met. I mean, Beth was an intern there. She was in the CAD department, and then we got paired together on some projects. And we were working together and we just ended up working really well together. So we knew that we could work together. It's not like we started this business as like, oh, she's my bestie from like high school or like college roommate or something like that. And then, trying to figure out whether or not we could actually work together. Like we worked together really well first. And then we were like, oh, okay, we can do this like as um business partners. And
I think
then
that's significant
we
though
just are
that you
so
did that because I've seen a
yeah.
lot of designers sort of make that relationship either at High Point or some sort of organization and then they go into partnership and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't because
Right.
that dynamic is a lot different than you think it is based on chemistry.
Yeah.
So
Partnerships are
I love
not
that
for
you
the
work
weak.
together, really tested that first. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
And now we're just like completely intertwined. Like we're like literally like married
Actually, like, I think
legally
I'm more financially tied to
in many
Carolina than I am.
ways.
Right. Right.
Yeah. I mean, and
Well, I asked that question. I remember early on, Beth, because I was like asking, are you partner? Because sometimes I've seen these partnerships work more in theory, but they're kind of siloed and finances are siloed separately, and you're not. You are 1000% like tied.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah, we're basically one big
and we split
company.
everything 50-50 no matter what. Like, well, first of all, I'm Beth Dotolo and I'm in our Seattle office.
Yeah.
Caroline is in Dallas where we started. Because I ended up moving away. My husband got a job opportunity in Seattle. So we started in 2007 and then I moved to Seattle in 2012. So I've been here for a while. So we've been, um, working together as one big company, even with separate locations. And so I think the key to our partnership is like a 50-50 split no matter what. Like sometimes, Dallas is busier, sometimes Seattle is busier. And so the whole thing is like we want to operate this as one company, try to take ownership over, I mean, of course we have ownership over our projects, but not try to take like possession over certain things. Like it's all for the greater good and all for the good of our clients, not for Carolina or I. So yeah, I think that's important.
So can you break that down and tell me a little bit about how that works as far as you got this opportunity, you moved, and then you had to reestablish, I'm sure you had to establish clients in Seattle. How, and you have probably support staff there too, and support staff in Dallas. How did you manage that cycle of growth, given that like you're in different locations and I'm sure at different, Dallas might have been still hopping and you're getting back on the plane, going, trying to service Dallas clients. And how did that work from the very beginning stages?
Well, I mean, at first I was helping with Dallas projects. And so, we were just trying to get a foothold here. So, when we worked more in the commercial realm, most of the projects we designed were not in our own city. So we were used to working on projects from afar. When Carolina was doing hospitality, she was working on projects like in China. So, to work in different time zones felt fine to us and felt natural. So it started with me supporting Dallas really. And then because I still had relationships with the clients because I had helped build that. We built it together. So I would just do it from afar and Carolina would make site visits and all that stuff. And then, we started getting clients slowly but surely and then built up a full steam office here. I mean, I would say business ebbs and flows in both offices, but for the most part, we both have a pretty even, it's usually whenever we run reports and stuff, it's usually like really pretty even between the two offices, which is funny. So, but yeah, and I mean, like, we use all the tools. Like when COVID hit, that was like no big thing for us because we were already working on, you know, COVID hit, that was like, so yeah, COVID was no big thing for us because we were already working, remotely on a lot of stuff. We already were doing the Zooms, we were doing we have systems in place, on the back end where everything's on servers. We have now, or in the cloud or whatever. And now we have staff in Portland, in Lubbock, Texas, in LA. So we have team members all over. They all originally started with us, but then moved away and were able to keep their position because, well, I started it. It's my fault because I'm the one that moved away first. But now everyone thinks they can just move wherever they want and keep their job, but they can if they're good. So that's the problem. But yeah, it works, it
I
works
love
really
it.
naturally for us. And we always joke that if Caroline and I were still sitting in the same office together looking at each other, we probably would have disbanded the company because we probably would have killed each other by now. So I think it worked out for everybody.
Yes. Yeah. I love it. I love it. And how do you manage the staff being separate? Do you manage your own staff? And Carolina, do you manage your own staff?
Yes, we pretty much manage our own stuff. And we also, obviously are the face of our company in the locations that
Mhm.
we're in for the most part. I deal with all the Dallas clients and Beth deals with all of the Seattle clients face
Yeah.
to face.
Yeah. And how about global? But globally, I'm sure you have a lot of crossover. So systems and the way everything
Yeah.
works, you kind of keep a centralized system for finance.
Oh
And
yeah,
so
we have a great systems. I mean, we
Company,
work
yeah.
for hospitality and commercial firms. So, those firms were a lot bigger than ours. So we already, we're trained to have that mindset of processes and procedures for everything, which has really helped us actually like run our
Mhm.
business and help the girls in our offices really think about how, everything is saved and like the reason that we do all the steps that we do. Like, why are we doing this? We do this up here in the front in order to get to this, you know,
Yeah,
in
I
the
think that
end.
the
So
process, yeah,
it's
the
very
processes and
important.
procedures, the documentation, running our business like a business I think has helped us, grow. I mean, we haven't grown fast. We've grown slowly and steadily and been able to scale as needed. And I mean, the processes and procedures, help us with our team members and help us keep everyone on track and help us work like, one big company and have that Pulp, client service and project process like embedded in both in no matter what project we're working on because we feel like that's really important.
How do you decide when, because it seems like your scaling is intentional. So how do you decide
agree.
when it's time to grow? Like how do you know, okay, it's time to grow, whether like it's a new office or you hire or what? How do you guys make that decision?
I mean, it's all about money, right? Like I think that's really usually
Well, of
depends
course.
on
But I
and
think for everybody it's about money, but you
No, I
guys
think
do
it
it in a
gets to the
way that
point
it
where
seems
like
very
if there were
intentional.
no, it is. No, it is.
I mean, we started doing everything ourselves. So I think when it gets to the point where you can't do specific things because you're having to do, when it gets to the point where you can't do the design part because you're having to do all these other things and you need to put, other people into positions in order to fulfill those,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know, those roles and those
Yeah.
gaps so that
you
Well,
can
more so,
do what
I
you're
would
supposed to
say
be
not
doing.
not the necessary things. How about the things that maybe not are not aren't necessary, but might be desires of yours? Like, some people would say, well, you don't have to get a new office. You could always work out of your home, or you don't have to
Mhm.
go into this arm of the business. How do you make those decisions? Like, we want to scale and do this.
Well, I mean, I feel like most of the decisions we make are around building long-term wealth for Carolina and I, and making sure that our staff are well compensated and have a career here, not just a job. So, a lot of that, like, when, when we're doing well financially, we usually give it to our staff before we give it to us, it seems. But, one of the things we did, when we had a little bit of extra money in the bank is we were like, okay, we need to invest this wisely. So we bought a building in Dallas and renovated it. And now we office out of that building for our company because I feel like that's, rather than like paying rent and just sending it out the door, we're able to put that towards a long-term investment. Same with like we bought a residence in Palm Springs and renovated it and turned it into an Airbnb. So, we feel like making those smart reinvestments versus just spending our money on, designer bags to try to keep up with our clients. We feel like it's smarter to reinvest it in our business because we believe in that. And like the long term, obviously, we've believed in the long term success of our business since the very early days. And so that has been, important to us to like grow steadily, grow slow, put the money back into the business and not into our pockets. We've always paid ourselves a salary, but it's always been a set salary. I mean, we get raises from time to time too, but we're pretty modest, I would say, when it comes to spending. We're more try to focus more on investing.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
But you did do Kips Bay, which I know was a
That
financial
was an
investment
investment.
so how did
Yeah, it
that
was.
how did that translate to your practice? Like, was that a wise investment? Did you feel like it was paid off? Did it give you what you needed out of it? Or do you think you're waiting to find out if that comes to be?
I just feel like that all depends on, your company's goals. If you are going to just be doing design projects and you don't have any other kind of plans for your business other than to just be a designer, because there's a lot of people who just love design and want to be a designer. But Carolina and I, for our company, we have licensed textile collections. We have more coming next spring. The brand partnerships to us are important and we enjoy doing them. And so, and other, just other projects outside of just interior design, even though interior design is like our soul and our bread and butter. So for us, it was important to do something like that because I think it elevated our brand. It allowed us to design what we really wanted to design without a client, making a million changes. And so for us, I feel like that elevated our profile and put us in a position to where, you know, not only could clients see that, we had an elevated sort of status as designers and could be trusted, but also that, we had legs as far as being able to do brand partnerships and work with brands. We put our fabrics in our space and collaborated with other brands like Fromental and, working with their wall covering and customizing it for our space. So like the snake wrapped around the sconce just so to us, that was important to put those details in because, as a growing interior design business with Carolina and I, we don't come from like a super wealthy family. So, we have had to build it from scratch. And so, we don't always have the projects that we get to do. Well, I mean, we do now, but we had always had the projects where we get to do like crazy custom stuff. And so we just wanted to be able to show what we could do, you know, when allowed.
Right, right.
It
Well,
was
I think you did
Well,
spectacular.
an
it's
amazing
it's
job. I
nice
mean,
it's nice to when you don't have a client, you don't have limitations,
right.
so
Yeah.
you get to do what you want and you have to do it so quickly. Sometimes the clients hinder the timeline
Oh,
because
a
of
lot of the time.
the process of making it's based on their ability to make a decision, how fast things
Yeah.
go. So that was great for us to be able to showcase like what we can do together and truly showcase like both of our talents together. And we've done that with all the show houses that we've worked on together. We design them so fast. It's, as you know, the execution part that always takes a little bit longer.
I think you did spectacularly well. I mean,
Oh my
Thank
honestly,
God.
you.
it was
Yeah.
a like knock your socks off
Thank
space, of
you.
course.
Thank
And,
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
you know, I think it had a lot of people talking,
That's
which I
awesome.
thought was always what you want,
Yeah.
right? Because you had to
Yeah.
really kind of odd space.
It was
And you did a
weird.
lot
Yeah.
with it.
Thank you. I mean, actually that's the fun part because
Yeah.
how odd it was actually what forced us to make these cool design decisions to do like a secret door or our little sinner's lounge, So it was like I feel like the best design comes from the challenges, and the weirdness. So it worked out for us, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, it was amazing. It was amazing.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
Thank
one of the
you.
things I keep coming back to is that, you know, your firm is incredibly strategic. You I don't think you make I think you make moves with a long-term plan
Mhm.
in place all the time. It feels like that looking at it from the outside, and I'm watching your firm
That's
grow,
so nice.
and it looks like it's very intentional. Like Niall said, you're making these decisions that are building off of itself, and it's building momentum, and it's not always what designers do to grow. You're, getting the Airbnb, getting the building. Those are not usually typical expansion points from a design firm. I'm seeing a lot of licensing deals. I'm seeing book deals. I'm seeing a lot of show houses, but those two things were a little refreshing to see that you were doing something a little different, that everyone else is doing. And I've
Yeah.
noticed people copying it since then. So how do you plan that from a strategic standpoint, sitting down together to map out the next 5 years or the next 10 years of what investments you're going to make?
Yeah.
We have meetings.
Meeting.
No, but we have a business strategist too. But I've always wanted to. I just love like real estate and that kind of stuff. Like it's just in my brain all the time. And we've always had the conversation about doing it since the beginning. I've always wanted to buy something. And Beth did too. It was just a matter of when it could be done and the right opportunity kind of like falling in our laps. So it was something that was always in our heads. And it was just wild how kind of COVID made it all kind of happen because we were so busy and we had a lot of stuff going on and these weird little like where our building is, it's like an up and coming area and it just like popped out of nowhere just for the need of having something in that particular area and we just happened to like make kind of happened to just like fall in our laps. So we were really grateful for that. Um, and same for the house. Like the house, we love Palm Springs. We've had such a connection to Palm
Yeah.
Springs, right, Beth? Like I mean, when we first got we met with Jody Feiner, the creative director of, Fabrica as Harris Fabrica. And that's where we met her for the very first time when she's inquiring about our firm, wanting to know whether or not we wanted to do some sort of collection with them or collaboration of some sorts with their fabric. That's where we got an Instagram message from Kips asking if we wanted to do the Kips Dallas show house. Like we were in Palm Springs. That's where so we
many
were like, we
magical
have to
things
buy a piece
happen when
here.
we're
It's like
in
a
Palm
magical
Springs together.
desert.
So we need a trip to
Oh,
Palm Springs.
wow.
We need more magic, I think. We need a good trip.
Yes.
I know. I know.
But I
Sounds like
think
it.
It's
Jeez.
just it's like so
I know.
interesting and funny.
But I think like, to ask about the strategy, like I feel like that's just right. Like the strategy is so important. Like we do sit down and we map out a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, 15-year. We even have an exit strategy plan and a retirement plan. But I think the biggest thing is that it's not about ego. It's about,
Mm.
building a business and building, a life for ourselves that we, we eventually want to retire. I don't know if we ever will just because we're, you know, obsessed with running our business, but I am. Carolina's like ready, I think, to peace out, but not really, but
No, I'm not. I don't think I don't have the personality to like I'd have to be doing something else. There's no way I can just like sit
yeah,
around and do
yeah.
nothing.
But it really is about the strategy and about building wealth for ourselves versus the ego projects. Even though, I mean, the ego projects are fun, but the point is that they bring money and they bring in more projects that bring in money, not that, we just have bragging rights. So that's sort of
Right.
always our,
Exactly. And
yeah.
I feel like you make very strong money moves in that way
Thanks.
because that's not actually, when I poll our audience often, and we do polls on a regular basis, and we get sometimes some disappointing results. I did a poll that was about saving for retirement. Are you on track for saving for retirement? And only 15% of interior designers said that they felt like they were on track for for retirement. I know many designers have no succession plan, do not track KPIs on a regular basis. I mean, these are just like industry-wide problems that
Mhm.
I'd love to see the community solve within itself, like for us to be able to work together. I love that you guys are that example of ways not only that you can do it correctly, but the results are right there for everyone to see.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not that like glamorous thing of
yeah.
being on television or having like a lot of ego projects, but it's real. Do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like really thoughtful step. I mean, that's what I'm seeing.
Well,
That's what
thank
I'm
you. I
seeing from
mean,
as an outside
for us
observer.
it's come as a need. Like we don't really have we don't have a backup plan if our business fails. We'll go work for another firm. So
Right.
we need to be strategic and we need to be making money and we like this is our livelihood. So, there's a lot of designers who don't need to have a strategy. And then that sets the precedence for new designers coming in who want to follow in the footsteps of people who don't, really need to work and are just having fun with it. And so I think for us, we need to be successful in our business because it's all we got. And so it's
Well, that's
just important.
incredibly problematic. And
Yeah. Gotta pay the
Got to
bill.
pay
yeah,
bills. We got to
yeah.
pay our
On this
bills.
panel at High Point, I'm always thinking about more than like who I'm going to have on the panel. I'm thinking about the audience and what we're going to
Mhm.
be telling them and selling them, and that it has to be right information and it has to be valuable to
Right.
them
Yeah.
more than anyone else. And sometimes I feel like even in our industry, there's a lot of examples that are not repeatable,
Mhm.
So someone gets into a particular television show and it takes off and they're speaking at an event. That's great. And I love it because you can learn something from anyone, but sometimes it's like a celebrity path is not necessarily repeatable.
Right.
Or even like someone who took off on Instagram when Instagram was new. That was not necessarily repeatable for a new designer coming out of it
No.
today. No. So, I mean, following thoughtful, smart growth is really, it really, for anyone listening, that's what you should be looking at is the designers who have built in a way that could be repeatable
Mhm.
and watching what the moves that they're making
Well,
and paying
and
attention.
it's not quick. Everybody wants everything quick now. We've been in business
Mhm.
almost, well, I say almost 20 years, but like 19, almost 19 years. And, that's not fast.
It's not quick, and we've learned a lot over the years. We've made mistakes too, but I mean, I think at the end of the day, it's like you're saying, Lori, like I think people sometimes want to have that kind of like fame or that kind of like what Beth is saying, like the ego. And sometimes that's not like it's great, it's like shiny, but it's not what can maybe make you money forever. Or maybe it's like a short little shiny thing for you
Right.
where you just have to think long term. Like this is a business. It's a
Mhm.
business. And we have so many lives that we care for in our business that we're providing for. I mean, we have to make sure our business is successful so that all of our designers can also pay their bills. And, like we've made investments where we tried to do, we did product and, uh, it was good. I wouldn't say it was great, but we put money into it, where sometimes putting money into something that's not very glamorous, like buying a building, is a better investment than something that we can brag
Right.
about on
Yeah.
Instagram.
I think that that's the key is I think that's something that it's become cyclical. Like you have a great project, then that project earns you a particular amount of money. And then for designers, like, okay, I have this amount of money, I can spend it on hiring a person or I can spend it on really upping my photography and getting a great stylist, or I could spend it on an ad that's local. It's just like there's so many choices, and sometimes those choices don't pay off.
Yeah.
So it's designers making
Yeah.
mistakes because maybe they think that's the right choice because
Yeah. But that's
it looks
okay
easy.
too.
It looks like the easy
That's
win.
part of business. Like, nobody who's
That's how you learn, I
successful.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
how
it's
you
how you
How you
learn.
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 Yeah.
You
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
remember when we launched our website, I was like sitting, waiting, like thinking someone was just going to inquire. And I was like, oh, wait, like someone actually has to find this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, it's live. Here we go. And then it's like, oh, wait, no one's going to find this. Like, they have to have a link, you know? But you just learn as you go, but as
Yeah.
long as you have the right mindset and the right people, like, we started our business as interior designers. We weren't business people. So we had to know what we didn't know. So that's why we hired a strategist to help us grow because, and she has helped coach us and turn us into business people. But, we didn't start that way. We're just designers and went to design, and we had really low budgets for our projects at first. It's like, so people were like, can you do my whole house for $5,000? So it just takes, time and, strategic planning and strategic marketing and, figuring out who you want to be as a business or a designer and targeting clients that will help you get there through like your messaging and your marketing. It's all a big machine, and you just have to keep feeding it, and it doesn't get easier. It just changes and morphs, like
Gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you balance being designers and brand guardians? Because I think both things for you now are equally prominent, right? You have a very distinct and prominent brand, and you have a very distinct prominent design firm. So how do you balance the two? Because I'm sure there are times when one may, clash with the other. Is there other times you have to say no to something because it doesn't align with the brand?
Yeah, we say no. We say yes a lot, but we also say no a lot. We've been asked to do reality shows and we have said no several times to that because we just feel like we believe more in the long-term success of our business. And I guarantee you a reality show would like tear things down. It wouldn't be good for our clients, wouldn't be good for us. We don't need the like,
Yeah. I always feel like those are kind of like, you never know how that's
yeah,
going to end up. Like
yeah,
for everything, I
yeah.
watch Bravo.
No, I agree. I always think that to me, the housewives, I'm always like, oh, this is the kiss of death. They're getting ready to get divorced. This is like the
Right.
last gift for the
Yeah,
housewife, right? I'm gonna put you on TV and goodbye. So yeah,
yeah,
I get that.
totally, totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and we've always believed like, when we started our firm, we named it Pulp Design Studios. We came up with the name. Both of us like went and wrote names down because you know, well, we both lived in an old textile mill together. Carolina, we lived across the hall like Melrose Place style. And so when we started our business, like we both went across to our respective lofts and we came up with a list of names, came back together, and we both had Pulp on the list. And so we always knew we wanted to be a brand and not be like Dotolo Gentry design or whatever. We wanted to be a brand. We wanted to design furniture and eventually have licensed collections. So we have known from the beginning how important marketing is because we, Dotolo Gentry, don't have built-in clients. We have to like market ourselves. So, marketing has always been, the strongest arm of our business to help get us clients. And now it's referrals. But if it hadn't been for the marketing and the branding and all that good stuff, like we wouldn't really have clients because we had to really sell ourselves, and we still do. We have to sell who we are and what we can do for our clients in order to be trusted and respected once we get those clients signed on. To us, it's really important. Like you said, like, taking things on that don't align with our brand, it's just not really worth it to us because our brand for us is so important. But that's really ultimately how we're growing our business.
I love that. And I really think that the reason I like that so much is it is what I have been telling you now too, is that you were thinking, I would love to see designers move away from maybe always naming the business after themselves so that they have the opportunity to build a
Yeah, or
brand
sell one day to
beyond,
get out,
yeah,
like,
sell
yeah,
one day.
yeah.
That's the real key, is that I think very few designers are able to sell the company at the end of the day. And they've built such a strong business, sometimes 30, 40 years, a book of business, a bunch of procedures, resources, and then it fizzles out at the end often for designers. And they're women-owned businesses, LGBTQ-owned businesses. And I'd love to see it be the asset that, there are other firms that we're aligned with that are able to sell their businesses, the contractor's business or the builder's business. Why not us?
Right.
Why not because it takes just as much to build that business as your business. So I just want to make sure that women have that opportunity and that we can sell these businesses at the end of the day, and they're not considered this like hobbyist where it can just fade out.
Yeah, I know that
and I think that's something that we need to be looking at.
I do.
Don't you hate that? Like, don't you hate that? Like,
I
people
hate
think
it.
interior design is like so easy, or somebody tells me like, oh my gosh, like it must be so fun to like shop for like for like a living. And I'm just like,
people ask you like, what do you do?
You're so
like, what do you do? And you're like, I'm interior designer. And they're like, oh, fun. And then they think you're just like some Debbie decorator. So and then they find you on Instagram, or you give them your card. And they're like, oh, you're actually like, you're like running a business, so it's like, I'm like, how do I, like, when I ever ask it, what I do for a living, I'm like, how do I rephrase it? I'm not just an interior designer. I like, like we are running like a firm, like, I mean, we need another name for it.
Right.
So
I know it's so tricky. I think that you're right. That happens all the time. We do memes about that type of thing all the time when they go viral.
Oh, they're funny.
I know. I love them. Like I'm like cackling at y'all's posts all the time. It's like great. I'm like forward.
Yeah, I think we forward a lot of your posts between our staff too.
Awesome.
Like the ones about like the designer's budget, the designer's dream, the designer's budget, or the client's dream, client's budget.
So it's so great because it's 100%.
I love it. We just did one yesterday that was about I found this person that was an author, and he was just talking about like what you need to do to be a successful author. And he said, marry rich. So I was like, that's great for designers. So I made it into a designer video.
It's true.
I was like, that is
actually
accurate about many interior designers.
It is. And we married for love. So
it's funny, like someone forwarded that one to me actually. So I did see that one. I was cracking up.
Beth, you probably don't know this, but I tell people something when I asked for testimonials way, way long ago. I want to say it was like 8 years ago or something. You gave me a testimonial, and it was that interior design community makes people feel less alone. And I tell that as like my favorite testimonial that I'd ever get.
Oh my God. I forgot that I even wrote that, but it's true. That's so nice.
It made me like so. And I do think I get that a lot from designers that, I feel like I fit in, or I feel like this is about me. So I just, that's one of my favorites.
That's so nice.
And it came from you.
Oh my God. I love that.
Oh, that's nice. It is a really great place. It is a great community to, see what the struggles are that we have, but then also champion each other.
It's wonderful
on the things that we do.
The
it's
support
really nice.
that other designers give to one another so openly and kindly, and generously giving their time to one another and really caring about the problems, even when sometimes designers come in with questions that they made mistakes, just like everyone does. We're humans. And the designers that respond are so awesome. I had a designer who came in and talked about having lied to the client.
Wow.
And the designers in the comments were so awesome. They're like, just come back and immediately tell them that you made a mistake, that it was your fault, and just go forward from there. Own your mistakes. Don't throw anybody else under the bus. But it's just be that kindness.
Yeah.
It wasn't, no one was like, you're just terrible for that. You're ruining our industry.
No, that's so nice.
These kinds of comments. Yeah. I love that. And I think that you are very much that to each other too. You're such an amazing support to each other. And it feels like you are able to yin and yang and help.
Well, I think we're just very honest people. Like we grew up like that. Like our families are like that, We're very outspoken and honest people. And I appreciate that. Like I like to surround myself with people like that, because I'm not into like the fluff
Yeah.
and
And
tough stuff,
Right.
you know? Like, I'm just like,
half
it
the
is
time
what
when
it
we're just
is.
having a
Like,
conversation, it sounds like we're fighting,
just
but we're
own it.
actually just talking to each other. So people are like, and we're like, no, like, because we're just really direct. Like, she'll say she wants to do something.
You're like,
We're
I'm
not
like, just
doing
let me
that.
talk.
She's like, you know, so we just like, you know, we're just really blunt with each other.
Yeah.
There's,
I'm the same way. I'm like, no, that's
yeah.
stupid.
So I think it's made us a good partnership because we
I love
don't
that
have to
though.
wonder what the other person's thinking. Like we know all of it and we trust each other. You know, we're in financially entwined. So we have what, three businesses and bank accounts and paying ourselves and paying other people. And so it's like there has to be trust there. There just has to be. So
I feel like it would ruin the business if you didn't have that. If you
yeah.
didn't have that level of confidence to be able to have those real conversations on a
Mhm.
regular basis.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
that's sometimes what happens that goes wrong in other partnerships
Mhm.
where it feels like you guys get along and you're friendly, but might not have a good communication style where you
Yeah.
can really communicate openly with one another. And then you start to get resentful of the other person because it's not
Mhm.
going the way that you want it. It's just like any other relationship. It can cause that
Yeah.
resentment and break down the relationship over time if you can't really fully communicate. And just like you would with your husband or
Yeah.
whatever, like if you can't communicate and you can't have those
Mhm.
conversations when it's happening
Right. And it is like a
openly.
marriage. It really is. Like it's not always easy either, but we always like we get everything out on the table in the moment and then it's over, you know, and that's sort
Right.
of the key, you know. I mean, being in a partnership is really difficult. It's not always easy. Sometimes it's amazing because like we have each other, we you know, get to brainstorm together and figure out what our future looks like and we get to design together, we get to travel together, like it's super fun. But then there's also like really hard conversations that have to be had. You know, we have a whole exit strategy just in case one of us feels like we don't want to do it anymore. You know, we had to sit down with a lawyer and just the same way where you'd sit with your husband or your wife and plan who's going to take your kids in your will. So we had
Right.
to like, you know, sit down and have all those conversations of like, you know, what if we don't like each other anymore? Or what if one of us gets divorced? Or what if
And that's also a great reason to have uh the
Mhm.
business strategist, you know? I
Yeah.
mean, those are the types of things that like we probably would not have
Yeah.
thought of on our
Yeah.
own. You know, because you get into the grind of like
Yeah.
working. Like we are so busy
Yeah.
all the time. We have to juggle so many
Yeah.
things. I don't think people understand how interior design is so detail oriented and we have
People don't. No.
like so many things happening at the
Yep.
same time. Like I have like 100
Yep.
texts. Like, you know what I mean? Like I've been sitting here and not even talking to you guys for that long. And it's just I forgot what I was saying now because
Well, there's a lot on your
I
plate.
That
I
we
was
And
have a
if
distracted.
you aren't
strategist.
able
Yeah.
to,
Oh no, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you don't have a strategist, like from an outside perspective, actually looking in and saying, like, hey, have you guys had this conversation? And you're like, no,
Yeah.
like we
Yeah.
didn't even think about it. So I think it's good to have, you know, those kind of business
Mhm.
minded
It's
people
almost like they're
around
reminding you
you
to take care of
because
you.
we are
Yeah, it's like
creative.
it's
Yeah.
like it's holding us
Yeah.
accountable, you know? And I think that's, you know, somebody was asking me, I actually had a drinks with a designer last night, and she was asking me, like, how do you remember to do the marketing stuff and to do this and to do that? And I was like, well, it's easier for me and Carolina because we have each other that we're accountable to. Like if we were just like designing on our own and didn't have anybody else, like it would be easy to let that fall through the cracks. It would also be in some ways
Mhm.
easier to do marketing alone because you don't have to run everything past each other. You know, we like all these extra things, like we have to be accountable to each other with all that stuff too. So it's
Yeah.
you know, not
That's
only
good.
do we have a
That's
strategist, but we have, you know, someone in our office who that's her job too, to keep us on track, really. She's our managing director and she's been with us for like what, almost 12 years. And you know, like having
Yeah.
those people I think are really important because
I always say
yeah, I would say she's our
she's my
boss. She
boss.
tells us what to do. So, you know, it's helpful for us because otherwise we'll just get stuck in the grind with the clients and the contractors and the staff and everything. So, you know, we get to-do lists just like everybody else and it's exhausting, but we manage.
Do because I mean I'm just like so focused on projects and like clients and making clients. I say this all the time. I'm like they're like, what are you doing today? I'm like making people's dreams come true. It's literally what I do every day. and trying to make people's dreams come
Right.
true. While I'm sitting here like in 100-degree weather, like sweating to
Yeah,
death, like
exactly.
loading my
Right.
car with like something that's like ridiculous because somebody forgot to pick it up or something. But you know, you just get lost in the thick of like the actual tasks that need to be completed where you forget about the other things that are super important about your business and helping you grow your
I think
business.
that's huge. I mean, Niall and I talk about that with different designers all the time. I mean, being able to manage the business when it is so detail oriented, when there's so many tasks on the list, when you're already exhausted and your brain isn't like you get to a point where your brain just doesn't work,
Yeah.
right? Like your brain is had enough for the
Yeah.
day and you just can't do another thing. But oh yeah, now I have to do marketing.
And now I've got to
You
post
know,
on
or now I have to,
Instagram. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
People are like, what do you do? What do you do? I'm like, I feel like I'm like a dentist and a firefighter every
Right.
day. Like all I do is put fires out and like pull
Right.
teeth. Like I feel like I'm pulling teeth to like get answers from like people like all day and then putting out fires the other like
Right.
half.
It
Hilarious.
is. It is, but you somehow managed. I just really want to commend you because somehow you've managed through this process to do something that I think is really unique and beautiful in that you are champions of one another, you are understanding of one another's gifts and weaknesses, and you're able to somehow have those real conversations and make something real happen from it too, because you could be spinning around and around and around over the same topics and not moving anywhere. And you've been able to commit and move forward and have another plan and move forward on that. And I commend you because it's not easy to do
thank
when
you.
there's two people making that decision.
Thank you.
And I've definitely seen a lot of partnerships fail at that, you know, and just it gets harder and then you get that analysis paralysis and you just don't do things.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
don't move forward.
Totally. Yeah.
You know, because it's hard. It's hard to have work this out. Which direction? Do you ever get to a point where you, if it's something that like one of you really wants to do, the other one doesn't, that you just have to table it and just not do it? Or how do you work those kinds of disagreements out?
I think they really talk everything through pretty
I feel like we're
well. I
usually on
mean,
the big,
you know, like we weigh all
yeah,
the pros and cons, like whether like and I mean Beth will say yes to everything,
not
so I'm not gonna
everything,
lie,
but
but
everything that
I mean
might
she
make
could.
sense, you know, but Caroline's like, like, even if it's like a good opportunity, Caroline is like, no. I'm like, wait, but, and so I'm the yes girl. And she's,
No, and I'll be like, how much does it cost? How much time is it gonna take out of my day? What
my
is this,
brain,
this? And then we talk it all through
my
and like
brain
think
like
it.
tabulates it really fast. And I'm like, this would be good for these reasons. Blah, blah, blah. And so I'm like, yes, we should do this. And then Caroline is the opposite,
Yeah.
where she's like, immediately no, I need to have lots of questions. And that's just how, and it actually works for us, because if I said yes to everything, it would like, I would be a disaster. And then Carolina would just be like at home. So
Right.
it's like we balance each other well. But that
That is
also
so
comes with
great.
a little tension too, you know, like it's
Sure.
aggravating to not, but we're
Well, I'm
always on the same
sure.
page though, big picture stuff. Um, you know, because
Yeah.
we know what our goals are. You know, we have goals in writing, we know where we want to go, we know what we want to be, and everything that we say yes or say no to, we sort of evaluate as how is this feeding into our overall plan. So I think that's really what helps. It's not just we're flying by the seat of our pants and trying to decide if we want to do something or not. So I think that's what makes it us be able to make decisions, is having a
So can I ask
strategy.
some like basic like financial questions? Like
Sure.
how many people do you have in your firm?
What, like, there's 12 of us, I think.
12 of you. Do
Yeah,
you consider the revenue together or separate?
together.
Together.
How many?
We're like one big
So what is your
company.
what are you procuring dollars per year? What does that look like for both of you? Or what is that generally?
Ooh.
Like what does our firm do in revenue?
Oh well, it's pretty even actually. That's what she was saying. Like we run reports and like the revenue in both offices is actually pretty much
Pretty
50-50
Wow.
for the most part. It's actually really crazy how it's like maybe like within $1,000 or like a couple
Wow.
$1,000 difference. Like it's not that big of a difference. Maybe I'm lying. Maybe it's like 5 or 10 or
No, but
whatever. But it's like
it's
not like
even like
it's not like a whole.
not
It's
every
pretty
like maybe
even
not every month, but like in the way it all shakes
over
up.
every
Yeah.
quarter. Yeah, maybe not every quarter, but like
Yeah.
at the
But
end of
it's
the year,
great because like
it'll
when
shape out. You
Dallas,
know,
if
it's
Dallas is
interesting.
slow, they have helped us with projects in Seattle because it's always like we're always like one of us is busy. We're always both busy actually, but like when one of us has a heavier workload than the other, we do like our staff helps we help between offices. We, you know, the staff all kind of know each other a little bit because we've like sent them on trips together, you know, to like trade shows, or we had we had like
Oh,
a little summit last year where we brought everyone together to you know, meet together. But we do try to like pair off people,
Go to
so
Dallas
because they learn
Market.
from each other, you know, like they'll like one like of course we run our business like one big business, but there are different things that each office does better than the other. And so it's nice for or like we're not doing something well. So it's nice to like have our team talk to each other and you know, see like, "Oh, how does this work for you guys?" And you know,
you communicate with like teams or some sort of like general chatter.
we
We
use
use
Basecamp for
Basecamp.
like our project management.
These can't.
We've used
Yep.
text a lot. And then we also have this is super lame and I thought it was so cool for a while, but we have this private Facebook group, which I know you've started your business on Facebook too. So we have
Yeah.
a private Facebook group that we've had for years, and it's we call it the Pulp culture, and we all post like what we're working on. Like we did this install today,
That's
so it
so
helps
cool.
us like you know, keep tabs on each other. And so like we had a girl start, I don't know, it's like well, she actually just celebrated her 5-year anniversary. And I was like, listen, I know like a lot of bosses would tell you to like stay off social media while you're at work, but we want you to be on Facebook. And she was like, Facebook. She's like, I haven't logged into Facebook in years. She's like, I don't remember my login. Facebook is lame. And I was like, oh my God. I thought I was so cool and hip. But I was like, okay, I'm the old lady now. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get on a lot of social stuff a lot. Like, I mean, not Facebook as much as Instagram, but um, yeah, the younger girls are just like, I don't even
I
have a
know, but
Facebook
it's like
account. And
we have
you're like,
so many years of content of like
You
that you
can
go
do an
back and
Instagram
look.
channel if you want to, and that's private. Like an Instagram channel lets you do the same
Oh,
thing,
really?
and you can create it, and it's private, and it's kind of like a running text,
Oh,
and you can
that's
do memes
cool.
and jokes and whatever you want in there.
Oh, that's cool.
There are lots of people who have had them be pretty successful for company
Okay,
culture
I'll look that.
communication
I'll
because
look that.
everybody's on
I
Instagram,
know
right?
everyone is on
Still.
Instagram. I think so.
yeah, I do love it.
Yeah, Instagram's great. Well, this has been so fantastic. I really appreciate having you. And, you know, we want to make sure that we support your growth too. So we'll make sure everybody listening has links. You can follow these ladies and find
Hmm.
out more about their brand, scope them out because they really are a brand you
The
should
best.
watch. They are not, we're not kidding. We're
I
like, both
know. So
agreed
nice.
1000% to have you on because
Oh my God.
you're a brand that people should be watching
You're
and
so
other
nice.
designers should
Absolutely.
be emulating for sure.
You're so
Yeah.
nice. Thank
Yeah.
you guys.
Well, if you guys want to have us on
Yes.
again for a different topic that's a little more
Yes.
fun and not just about ourselves,
That is a fun topic. Hello.
we should talk.
Yes.
No, I mean, you know, like we can talk about, I don't know, just fun stuff that we have to deal with on a daily
Oh,
Yes.
listen.
The
Yes.
reality
Love that.
Blood.
Love
show
that.
Listen, don't tempt me.
episode.
The reality
I
show.
just had dinner with a bunch of designers last night because we have a little designer group that goes to dinner like once a month
Yeah.
here, and it's so fun because
I've
we do
heard.
all just chat about like the stuff that you just encounter. I mean, we all
Yeah.
know, you know, like
We're
we
going to
get to
have
see
I
like,
don't know if
I
you
mean,
saw,
it's
but
just
we're having a
interesting.
gossip dinner at High Point
I've heard about
where
those
we did a
dinners,
gossip
Carolina.
dinner
Oh,
series.
really?
Yeah.
Gosh,
So
stop. Please
we
send us the
have
details or
people
the
signing up and they have to send us like scandalous
Where do
stories
we
to get
find
a seat at the
that? Is
table.
it
And we're
on your Instagram or on
I will put the link in this as well
Okay.
so that you can all
That's going to
get it.
be
But it's like, I'll
amazing.
send you guys the link and you can sign up to
We'll
come.
be
And
there.
we are going to have everybody sign NDAs and it'll be really
Oh my
fun.
God,
I
that's
can't
Yeah.
wait.
so fun.
Yeah.
That's
Oh my God.
great. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
that's
this.
really good.
I love
Okay.
it.
Well, we'll be there.
Great.
We'll
All right.
register.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
Awesome.
guys.
Thank you guys so
Thanks.
much.